Hey, time to shine today, Varsity Squad. It's Scott Ferguson, and I am super stoked to have on my guest, my friend Diane Forster. I've been waiting for this interview probably about a month and a half just because of the backups, and Diane's been so kind to wait until this day. I wanted to slide her in a little bit earlier, but this is it's going to be an amazing interview. Diane is an award-winning inventor, best-selling author, a TEDx speaker, TV host, podcaster, intentional living expert, and reinvention specialist. She works with clients privately and helps you clear away mindset blocks and limiting beliefs that can block you from reaching your full potential in business, life, and relationships. Diane is a mother of twins and lives in Sandog. San Diego, as all my listeners know, is my favorite city in the whole wide world. I even have it in my will. My ashes go at the Sunset Cliffs, but I digress. Her mission is to see that 1 billion people who don't know their self-worth discover their true divinity, power, and purpose. So without further ado, Diane, please come on, introduce yourself to the Time to Shine Varsity Squad. But first, please let us know your favorite color and why.
Well, my favorite color is fuchsia, which I'm wearing, which is in the logo. It's bright, it's happy, it's positive. It just makes me feel good. I like it.
And it's royal.
Yes.
Royal. It's regal. It's royal. I love it, and it looks great on you. It matches your background there. Because folks, if you're listening out there, we're in like day 9,226 of quarantine and social distancing. So for both of us to look presentable is fantastic during this time, which is awesome. So let's go back to a little bit of origin. Give us a little bit about your story, Diane, and then we'll go from there.
Okay. Well, I was born and raised in New York. My family moved out to LA when I was 17, and I went to San Diego State, which is where I fell in love with San Diego. And I worked in the advertising industry for the first 8 years of my career before moving to Chicago and transitioning into television sales, where I spent 24 years working in that industry, and the last 20 of those was with Disney ABC. And while I was working at ABC, one day I was married at the time, raising the twins, loved to cook and bake and entertain. It was an Easter Sunday in 2009, and I was making deviled eggs and sugar cookies to take over to a family party.
There you go.
And I went to put the final sprinkle of paprika on the deviled eggs, and too much spice shot out of the container and ruined my dish in 1 second, like instantaneously.
You ruined deviled eggs on Easter?
Yes, I know.
Oh, no.
Such a sin.
Right, it is.
So what happened is, in my mind, I could instantly see this product. And I thought, if there was just a sifting spoon with a long handle and a tiny little sifting bowl with a tapping edge where I could put the spoon into the spice container and take some spice out and then just tap it exactly where I wanted to go. Wouldn't that be cool? It'd be beautiful, neat, clean. Everything would look amazing. No germs or mess on the food because I didn't use my fingers to sprinkle. And so I set out on a quest the next day to find this thing, and I couldn't find it. And so I'm out to dinner with friends a couple weeks later, and I mentioned it to them, and I said, I have this idea. Do you know anyone in the industry? And they did. They introduced me to him, and he tried to talk me out of making it. And my mantra was, you know what? I just want to see where this goes.
Right.
Well, where it led was to winning an innovation award at the International Houseware Show in Chicago. And QVC was there. QVC started placing orders for their store online. And then they called me a year or two later and said, it's selling really well. We'd like to feature you on air. So I went on air and we sold out in 6 minutes. So having the mantra of, I just want to see where this goes, led to this magic of not knowing, trust me, I didn't know what I was doing. I was just doing one thing, one foot in front of the other. So that's what introduced me to entrepreneurship and opened my eyes to it. The creation of I Have Today is my personal journey. And I know this is going to resonate with a lot of people. So while I had what looked like to everyone this have-it-all life, I was married with the twins and the dogs and the big home and the cars and the amazing career and the travel, the outside looked really good. But what was happening to me on the inside was I was completely unhappy, unfulfilled, depressed. And it was a secret I kept hidden to the outside world. And I stayed in this marriage and relationship for 20 years, kept hoping that it would get better. And it just didn't. And life events occurred, and my needs and happiness kept getting put further and further on the back burner.
Sure.
Until one day in June of 2011, I had a breaking moment. And it was a regular Saturday, and we were out to dinner at some friends for a barbecue that night, having dinner. And there were a bunch of families there, and we got in the car to go home, and the fighting started. And when I got home, I just went in the bathroom, locked the door, and I just snapped. And I took out 2 full bottles of prescription pain pills that I had sitting in the cabinet from
Right.
a surgery I had the year before to remove part of my colon, because the stress of my life was literally killing me. And what happened was a God moment. The pills got knocked out of my hand, and the same voice that told me to create the Spifter, my kitchen product, screamed in my ear and said, "You are not ending your life this way.
That's
You
right.
need to go get help so that you can tell your story and you can help others." And that was my awakening. And so the next day I reached out for help, and it set me down this path of self-discovery and spiritual awakening and personal development. And I started healing in this really profound way, and started developing processes that worked for me, because there were so many amazing experts, philosophers, teachers, influencers out
Sure.
there. And I said, how can I hack this and make this work for me, so that anytime I can snap back, get intentional, be empowered, be focused on my joy and happiness.
Right.
And what was missing, honestly, Scott, was self-love. That's what it was. And owning everything that had happened to me, and being the one in the power to know that it all was happening for me, but I was the reason why my life looked like that. It wasn't outside of me. And so that woke up my, intuition, my spiritual gifts. I was writing and creating like crazy. And one day I woke up with a poem in my head called "I Have Today." And when I finished writing it down, among the many other poems and stories I had written, I looked down at it and I said, this is way more than a poem. This is a movement. This is what God was talking about in the bathroom 2 years ago. I am supposed to help others who don't know their
That's
self-worth
right.
discover their true divinity, power, and purpose. Because if I was living like this, how many other millions of people are living this way? And
Right.
so I made a bold decision. 2 years later, my twins graduated high school. I quit my corporate job at ABC. I sold my house and everything in it. I got them off to college, and I moved from Chicago to San Diego with the same mantra of, I just want to see where this goes. And it's been extraordinary. I tell you, stepping over that line of fear to faith
Oh, yeah.
created more magic than I could have ever dreamed possible.
Wow. So
So,
I'm hearing a lot that you even believe in what a few of us in our mastermind group we call start ugly. So where you
yeah,
just, it doesn't matter about getting going, it's just really getting started. And just,
yes.
it doesn't matter how you do it. I should re-say that about getting started. And that's what you did with the Sifter, to finding your voice and putting that poem onto paper with "I Have Today." That's an amazing share. So tell us how you really got into wanting to reach out, because you're really female based, correct?
I am. I do coach men privately, but I'm
Okay.
really focused on women. Women, would I call in the second chapter,
Okay.
in transition. And I don't want to say middle age, because it's not anymore, but it's women mostly in their 40s, 50s, 60s. Sometimes they're younger, sometimes they're older, but that's pretty much the age group.
Sure.
She's me. She's a woman who is, um, she's smart,
Right.
savvy, successful in some areas of her life, but lacking in other areas of her life. And she's living in this existence that isn't to her greatest, highest, fullest potential.
Right.
And she's telling herself, well, someday I will, or when then, when this happens, then I will. And all the limiting beliefs and excuses that happen to us. And what I discovered is those limiting beliefs and mental blocks, that is my secret sauce on what I do. I
You're
get rid
stealing
of
my
those for
word. My
people.
next
Oh, sorry.
question was
Oh,
that.
sorry. All right. Well, I'll hold off on that. But anyway, what happens is what I call it is a ho-hum existence. nothing is necessarily really wrong, but I'm not happy, but I can't really define it, or I kind of can, but I can put up with it.
Sure.
So I believe in like a zero tolerance of anything that's not fulfilling to you. I believe that you truly can, should have it all in every area of your life, every day of your life, that there aren't limits, and that saying things like, well, I need to sacrifice this in order to have that, is just a lie that somebody else told you. And
Absolutely.
you bought it and you believe it. It's not true. It's not what we came here to experience at
Absolutely.
all.
So
Yeah.
with vetting you out and kind of going through, and again, looking forward to this conversation that we're having, what you said the word secret sauce. We use it all the time here at Time to Shine today. I'm seeing that a lot of the people, where they're not fulfilled, like you said, they're great in some areas, other ones they're blind spots, correct? So
Yes.
what is your secret sauce really for helping somebody find their blind spots?
Mm. Well, it's kind of a little bit layered, but where it stems from is what I discovered is in the law of attraction manifestation process, you wanting to get what you want but not being able to get it, there's a gap there. And while some people are doing all the things, they think they're doing everything right, and they probably are, it's the unawareness of how they are communicating to themselves and others throughout the rest of the day. So let me give you a for instance. So say you meditate and you journal and you work on that personal development and your spiritual side, whatever that looks like for you, and you're being intentional in some areas of your life, but you negate or are not aware of the way you're moving through the rest of your life through language. So when you say things, oh, that's hard. Oh, it's expensive to live in San Diego. Or, I'm just throwing out examples. Oh, I
Sure.
can't do that. It's too late in life. Or, I'm not smart enough for that. I'm not fill in the blank for that. Or that costs too much money. Or that's, whatever they are, these are just stories living in the subconscious mind that need to be removed. I affectionately call them the dandelions. And so what I do, my secret sauce is I get rid of the dandelions and replace them with a bed of roses
There you
through
go.
this amazing process that I do with every one of my clients. And they tell me, I can't believe my life. I mean, you've done more for me in 30 days than 10 years of therapy. Or,
Right.
I just didn't know that life could be this good. And it's
Sure.
not their fault.
Right.
They're so mired down in these dandelions. So I get rid of them right away. It's what I call getting the rocket ship off the launch pad, and like
All the effort it
skyrocket.
takes to get it up. Once
It
you get going,
is.
it's kind of easy peasy.
Yes, yes. And so it's extraordinary, and it's so rewarding for me to see their transformations.
Sure.
And I get these texts and these emails, you're not going to believe what happened to me. And I say, yeah, I am,
I
but
kind of
tell me
believe it.
anyway.
I got it. So, Diane, what makes a great coach then?
Mm. I think what makes, there are so many good coaches out there,
Oh,
by the way,
absolutely.
and they specialize in a lot of things. But I believe in my area of expertise, while I have all the business savvy and certainly coach in business and relationships, is mindset first. And so I believe what makes a really good coach is a coach who has the capacity to ask the one question that they look at and they go, oh my God, that's the
Right.
question I've been seeking the answer to. And it's not the same for every person. It's not a cookie
Not
cutter
cookie cutter.
question.
There you go.
It's not.
Right.
So being able to listen, but it goes beyond listening, but really listen, tune into what's being communicated to you, what's going on with that person. Because I can, after a minute or two, three at the most, ask that question and they
Sure.
go, wow,
Right.
that's it. So I
Because
think
you're
that's
not.
what,
Go ahead.
yeah, I think what it is that we're not asking ourselves enough questions, and we're not asking ourselves the right questions. And
Right.
that's where the major transformation happens.
Questions is everything in life, is what I have a couple podcasts on. regarding that. And that's what my mentor taught me when he's like, brother, when you're driving down the street and you need to put your turn signal on to make a left, that's still a question that's firing in your head. Should I do this? Everything's a question. Should I come on to Scott's podcast? It's like everything is seriously a question. So we like to level up our questions that we ask ourselves every day. And that's great that you said that, because that's what I was hoping to hear, not cookie cutter, asking powerful questions, not just listening with the ears, but also eyes, actions, posture, and whatnot. That's what makes you, you're fantastic. So let's go back and get on our little DeLorean with Marty McFly. And you've went through a lot. Okay. So let's go back to, say, the 22-year-old Diane Forster. What are you telling her, dropping a knowledge nugget on her to help her level up through the journey she's about to go on?
It's so interesting that you picked that age, because that is the age of my twins. It is. My 22-year-old self, I would tell her, dream bigger. It's just as easy to soar. In fact, it's better than to crawl. Don't pay attention to what others think, because that's what stopped me. And to figure out who you are and live her unabashedly.
Love that. That's passion. That was like convicted. It was said. A lot of people sit there and think and dwell, but because you went through it. What if you had that someone that was in your ear, saying that to you? So you've did a lot, and you even put in your bio that you want to help 1 billion people. Okay, so that's a huge thing. But what's the other one big thing that Diane wants to accomplish?
Well, in helping the 1 billion people, the big thing that I am accomplishing, I'm intending, and I'm moving forward towards it every day, is creating the I Have Today network, which is a multimedia platform. And I want to be known as the media company that helps people who are suffering from depression and anxiety and thinking suicidal thoughts to become happier, more fulfilling people.
That's
so
strong.
That is my big freaking
What got you in, because my listeners, so my little brother took his life, what got you in to wanting to help? Because I understand, was your aha moment maybe because the pills were there in your hand for your own self, or did you go through something else in your past where maybe someone had taken their life, or what was that aha moment to want to help the people that are contemplating taking their life?
Because what I discovered, so many things that I discovered in the empowerment and owning everything and really looking back at it and connecting my dots, as Steve Jobs would say,
Sure.
is that, first of all, I've been helping people my whole life. I think that's evident in what I've accomplished. Sure. And
you're a definite go-giver, without a doubt.
Right. So being that, but to reach that number was, why not? First of all, second of all, it was given to me. It was guided to me. I mean, Spirit told me that, and I said, okay, I'm gonna roll with it. And that when you learn, you want to teach, and when you get, you want to give. And it's the most rewarding feeling in the world to do that. So for me to do it on a massive level, covering 13% of the world population, that's what 1 billion is, it's total moonshot, but why not? What if I hit a fraction of that and affect those lives?
You're still within each person, you're finding their divine power within themselves. It's making the world about, even just one person changes the world towards world peace, finding them. So how I can say this. Okay, is there any good question that you wish people, when you first meet them and want to take them on, that you wish they would ask you? Because you talked about questions, powerful questions. When you don't even know if you're going to take the person on. Okay, I know me being a coach, what I want to be asked that people never do. But what is the one question maybe that you wish people would ask you in your first little discovery session?
I wish they would ask me, I'm waking up every day not excited about my life. Can you help me with that?
Love
and my
that.
answer is absolutely, because you should be waking up every day excited about
That's beautiful. So let's take our cell phone, our computers, our laptops, all those out of it, okay, out of this next question. What are 3 things that Diane cannot live without?
Oh, meditation, the beach, and my twins and family.
Love that.
Yeah, yeah.
Do they go to college in California or back in Chicago?
They're graduates. They
Oh,
graduated last year. Yes, they're
awesome.
both
Awesome.
living in LA, and
Oh,
they're doing great and they're thriving.
right up
Yes.
the I-5 from you, the PCH little drive, huh? That's
Yes,
fantastic.
yes,
So,
yes.
Diane, what's your definition of a life well lived?
Oh my gosh, I think a life well lived is where you feel happiness every day. Maybe not all day, every day, but you find happiness every day so that when you lay your head down on the pillow at night, you can look back on that day and say, if I don't wake up, I'm all good with everyone and everything.
Love that. I love it.
Yeah,
So nothing, you're setting people up really to have a great outlook because pain is life, right? Suffering's a
it is.
choice, right? Okay, I just ripped that from Tony Robbins, who ripped it from Jim Rohn, who ripped it from Earl Nightingale. So we're as coaches, we're kind of regurgitating other people's stuff without a doubt, where we're putting our own little spin on it, and your spin is amazing. So that thank you for sharing all of that. We're going to move into, as we wind it down a little bit, our leveling up lightning round. You and I, there's about 5 or 6 questions. You and I could speak for 15, 20 minutes in each one of these, but I'm going to give you for like 5 to 7 seconds. First thing comes to your head, really no explanation, and we're going to just kind of go through these questions if that's okay. You
It's
ready?
great.
Let's get
Hmm.
going. 1, what is the best leveling up advice Diane's ever received?
Um, Whatever you think your biggest dream is, 3 times it.
Love it. Share one of your personal habits that contributes to your success.
Definitely my morning routine of nurture my spirit, mind, and body,
I knew you
and
were going to say that.
meditate.
I knew
Yeah,
that meditation. I
I
love it.
meditate every day, journal, and move my body.
I love it. Other than your own website, and of course, timetoshinetoday.com, that's a shameless plug here. What other internet resource do you go to kind of level up?
I love the Wellness Universe. That's a good one. That's a lot of amazing
Okay,
talent on that. Yes.
love
Hmm.
that. Let me look into that. Okay, not the flavor of the month or what you're reading now or whatever's #1 bestseller, but what is a book your go-to? Like mine's The Traveler's Gift by Andy Andrews or The Go-Giver by Bob Berg. Those 2 books
Yes.
are someone's going through stuff, I hand them. I'm like, read these, internalize them, love them. What's yours?
Ask and it is given
Gotcha.
by
Who is that?
yes by Jerry and Esther Hicks,
Okay.
and they're channeling Abraham. It's
Okay.
a little
Oh,
woo-woo,
really?
but you know what? It's amazing, and it was so
From the book of Genesis?
instrumental. Mm-mm. No,
Who
no.
Abraham?
Abraham is collective consciousness. That's the name that
Oh, gotcha.
yeah, that's who she channels.
I
Esther
love it.
channels.
Okay.
But it is such a good read.
Gotcha. So I have to ask this because
Hmm.
we're in a little social distancing right now, and you and I do well with ourselves if we have to. But if there's anywhere in the world that you could go right now, where would it be?
Um, I have to say, where I am,
Me too. I live on the
honestly.
beach. It's right here.
Yeah, I really, I'm living, I'm practicing what I preach, and I'm so blessed and
I'm
grateful and
glad you said
humbled
that.
to be living this way. Yes,
Your
yeah.
favorite charity and or organization you like to give your time and or money to?
The National Association for Suicide Prevention.
Love it. Okay, thank you for saying that. Last question. Best decade of music, 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s?
70s, hand
We
down,
can definitely
hands
hang out.
down.
Next time I come to San Diego, we're going to go to the Hotel Circle there and pick a nice restaurant. Gotcha.
Yes, love
Awesome
it.
sauce. So, how can we find you?
Well, you can find me at dianeforster.com, and I offer a free coaching session with me on the coaching page, so feel free to check it out. But
And I'll have all
also,
of that in the
please,
show notes for them.
oh, great. Also, please follow me on my podcast and my show, which is called I Have Today with Diane Forster on YouTube, and then all the podcast platforms.
Love
That
it.
would be great. Yes, follow me there.
Before we sign off, leave our Time to Shine Today squad with one last knowledge nugget that you want them to take with them, internalize, and really take action on.
That if what is happening right now in the world isn't a sledgehammer over our heads to say, wake up, you only have today. Do not put your happiness on hold. This is your chance to reinvent, to pivot, to up level whatever is not working out in your life. So please reach out to a coach or do the inner work to figure out what that is for you. And again, go after it unabashedly.
I love that. And squad, you've just been treated to a fantastic bombing of knowledge nuggets from my friend Diane Forster. We're so blessed. She told us to be happy every day, no matter the situation. That it's easier to soar than to crawl. That's amazing. That resonated with me. No ho-hum existence out there. Get after it. Have zero tolerance for that does not serve you, and find your divinity, power, and purpose. And that's what we've talked about all the time here at Time to Shine Today. And Diane's is very humble, yet very driven. She's levels up her health, levels up her wealth, and now you're part of our squad, Diane. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me, Scott. It's been amazing, really. Thank you.
Awesome. Have a great day.
Thanks, you too.